Today, we're going to take a journey into a hidden world, one that's right under our feet. We're exploring the Rhizosphere, the secret, bustling foundation of pretty much all life on land, where roots are speaking a language we're only just beginning to understand.
So, let's start with a question that might just flip everything you thought you knew about plants on its head. We tend to think of roots as, just anchors holding a plant down, or maybe simple straws sucking up water. But what if that's not the whole story? What if they're actually the intelligent, decision-making center of the entire operation? This right here shows the huge shift in how we think about this. The old view, yeah, a passive anchor. But the new view, where the science is pointing, it sees roots as active biological engineers. They're master foragers that are constantly sensing, exploring, and literally cultivating the world around them. Okay, so if they're these brilliant engineers, how does that actually work? Well, it all starts with their design. Let's think of roots as architects of the underground, strategically built to not just survive, but to explore and conquer the soil. And right away, you see plants using two totally different strategies. On one hand, you've got the taproot system, like a mango tree that drills down deep for stability and to find water way down below. Then you've got the fibrous system, like in rice or wheat, which casts this wide, shallow net to grab every last bit of resource near the surface. Two different problems, two brilliant architectural solutions. But the real action, the real heavy lifting, it happens at a scale you can't even see. It's not the big, thick roots doing all the work. It's the incredibly delicate, fine roots and these even tinier root hairs that create a massive surface area for absorption. And get this, it's not passive. The plant is actively spending its own energy to pull in the specific nutrients it needs. It's selective. It's smart. And the global impact of these tiny little structures, it's absolutely staggering. A full third, 33% of all the carbon that enters the world's soils gets there from the life cycle of these fine roots. That means root systems aren't just feeding a single plant. They are a major, major driver of the planet's entire carbon cycle. It's a huge reason why healthy ecosystems are such a powerful tool against climate change. So all of this brings us to the main event, what we can think of as a living marketplace. We're about to dive into the Rhizosphere, which, and this is no exaggeration, is arguably the most biologically active and important zone on the entire planet. So what exactly is the Rhizosphere? Well, picture this incredibly thin layer of soil. We're talking just 1 to 3 millimeters thick that's wrapped right around the root. This isn't just plain old dirt. It's a unique environment that the plant itself actively creates and manages. Just how special is this little zone? It can be packed with up to 100 times more microbial life than the soil just a few millimeters away. It's a bustling, microscopic city, and it was built and is powered entirely by the plant root. So how does the plant build this city? It does it with something called root exudates. Think of it like a custom-brewed chemical cocktail that it pumps into the soil. And these chemicals have three basic jobs. They act as signals, calling out for microbial help. They are food, basically pure sugar to power their little allies. And they are tools, acids that can actually dissolve minerals and unlock nutrients. And why is this partnership so incredibly important? Well, take a nutrient like phosphorus. In a lot of soils, as you can see here, a whopping 80% of it is locked up in a form the plant just can't use. Without those microbial partners that it calls in and feeds, the plant would literally starve, even if it's sitting in a nutrient-rich soil. Okay, so the microbes have done their job. The nutrients are unlocked and ready to go. But how do they physically get to the root? This is where we see nature's amazing supply chain in action. There are three main delivery routes. So first up is mass flow. This is the easy one. Nutrients like nitrogen just get carried along for the ride as water moves towards the root. Then you've got diffusion, which is a slower process, where things like phosphorus move from an area of high concentration to low concentration. And finally, there's root interception, where the root literally has to grow and physically bump into nutrients like calcium to grab them. Understanding these different pathways is just critical for smart farming. But plants don't just rely on basic physics and chemistry. No. They are absolute masters of outsourcing. They form these powerful symbiotic partnerships with a whole army of superpowered microbial helpers. For instance, a plant can massively expand its reach by partnering with something called Mycorrhizal fungi. These fungi create this huge underground web that can increase the root's absorptive surface area by up to 100 times. It's not just a root system anymore. It's a biological internet connecting the plant to water and nutrients far beyond where its own roots could ever reach. And then there's nitrogen. The air we breathe is full of it, but plants can't use it directly. So they team up with bacteria like Rhizobium, which can literally pull nitrogen out of thin air and turn it into plant food. And how good are they at it? They can fix up to 300 kilograms per hectare in a year. That is an incredible amount of free, all-natural fertilizer. And as if all that wasn't enough, these fungal partners give another amazing gift. They produce a sticky protein called glomalin. You can think of it as a kind of superglue for soil. It helps bind soil particles together, which improves water retention, creates a great structure, and locks away huge amounts of carbon underground. Now we get to the really dramatic part, because this isn't just about finding food. The underground is a world of constant communication, of warfare and defense. We're about to tap into a secret signaling system. See, down in the soil, the root has to constantly figure out who's a friend and who's a foe. On one side, you have all your beneficial partners, your allies. But on the other, you have pathogens like root rot and nematodes that are trying to attack. The root is the gatekeeper, and it's constantly sensing who's who in this incredibly crowded world. And plants have these unbelievably sophisticated defense strategies. When the right friendly microbes are around, they can trigger something called induced systemic resistance. It's like a natural vaccination that primes the entire plant for defense. But even more amazing, if a plant is attacked, it can send out a chemical cry for help, releasing very specific signals to recruit a microbial army to come and fight off the invaders. It's incredible. Which really brings us to this powerful idea. A healthy root is so much more than just a piece of plant anatomy. It is a dynamic, living communication center that is constantly negotiating, trading, and defending its territory.
And all this leaves us with one final, and I think really crucial question. If the soil beneath our feet is this alive, if it's this full of communication and intelligence, well, that changes everything. It forces us to ask, in the way we grow our food, in the way we take care of our planet, how can we finally learn to listen?